When the momentary image of the J-10C fighter jet locking onto the J-20 in the midst of electronic fog was frozen in the CCTV documentary Breakthrough, the global military community's attention suddenly shifted to China's Southern Theater Command. In this exercise codenamed Skydome 2025, a fourth-generation and a half fighter jet worth $40 million, working in precise coordination with an early warning aircraft and an electronic warfare aircraft, successfully tracked down and engaged a stealth fighter jet valued at $150 million. Behind this seemingly impossible achievement lies the Heavenly Net Combat System, which the Chinese Air Force has spent a decade developing, quietly rewriting the rules of aerial combat. In New Delhi, the Indian Ministry of Defense building remained lit all night. They understood not only the technological gap, but also the beginning of a power shift in the skies over South Asia. The technical details of the exercise are staggering. The digital array radar of the J-500 early warning aircraft detected the J-20's micro-Doppler signals from 400 kilometers away, while the Type 609 quantum radar used atmospheric ionospheric reflection for three-dimensional positioning. These data were fused and processed at millisecond speeds through the Nebula Tactical Cloud System, generating fire control parameters with an error margin of less than 0.1 arcminutes. When the J-16D electronic warfare aircraft released its KG-800 pod emitting an electromagnetic pulse, covering the 218 GHz frequency band, the signal-to-noise ratio of the Blue Army's communication frequencies plummeted to -20 decibels. At this moment, the J-10C, which had maintained radar silence, launched its PL-15 missile, receiving mid-course instructions via the Baidu 3M code, and only activating its active radar in the terminal phase. Pilot Xiao Nan revealed in a post-mission interview, after the radar lost the target, it took only 0.2 seconds to acquire friendly unit scan information via the data link and complete the lock. This three-stage fire and forget, mid-course correction, terminal self-guidance hunting mode boosts the hit rate to 92%, completely shattering the myth of stealth fighters being invincible. Even more astonishing is the Red Army's meticulously designed tactical deception chain. Two J-16 fighters conducted a bold feint attack, successfully triggering the Blue Army's radar activation. 4 Attack-11 drones simultaneously released intelligent electromagnetic decoys, creating 8 electromagnetic illusions of fighter jets on the enemy screens. The true decisive move, a J-10C squadron armed with anti-radiation missiles, exploited the mountainous terrain to penetrate at an ultra-low altitude of 30 meters. This combination of tactics caused the Blue Army's air defense system's target misidentification rate to surge to 67%, perfectly replicating the battlefield magic of modern warfare. The shockwaves this exercise caused in India far exceeded Beijing's expectations. When Indian Defense Minister Singh saw the footage of the J-10C locking onto the J-20, he immediately convened an emergency meeting. They understood the practical implications of the exercise. The Blue Army's J-20 long-range surface-to-air missile combination was a simulation of India's potential future deployment of the Su-57, paired with the S-400 air defense system. What sent a chill down New Delhi's spine was that during the Snow Eagle conflict between India and Pakistan in May 2025, the Pakistani Air Force had already employed Chinese-style tactics to stage a real-life version of the hunt. At the time, a ZDK-03 early warning aircraft commanded 4 J-10C fighters, which silently hunted down and shot down 2 Indian Rafale fighters over the Kashmir Valley. The captured Indian pilot later admitted, until the missile alert sounded, we had no idea where the enemy aircraft were. India's anxiety stems from a threefold generational gap in systems. The Pakistani Air Force's 50 J-10C fighters have all been integrated into the J-10 data link system, forming a cross-generational combat network. While the Indian Air Force is mired in a patchwork of foreign equipment, Israeli Falcon early warning aircraft guiding Russian-made Su-30 fighters must relay commands through ground stations, resulting in a delay of up to 12 seconds. French-made Spectrum electronic warfare systems interfere with Russian-made Ir-77 missile guidance systems. More critically, a pilot shortage with a pilot-to-aircraft ratio of 1.21 renders the Rafale fighters, purchased at a cost of $8.8 billion, information islands. While Indian military leaders debate whether to accept the source code agreement for the Russian Su-57, the harsh reality is that even if they obtain fifth-generation fighters, without data links, early warning support, and electronic warfare assistance, they are nothing more than fast-flying targets in systematic combat operations. This exercise has revealed a military revolution that is disrupting traditional defense economics. On the large screen at a command center in the Southern Theater Command, the leap in cost-effectiveness is clearly displayed. the cost-effectiveness ratio of traditional platform-centric warfare is only 1.2, while that of limited system warfare has surged to 3.5. The Chinese Air Force has enhanced overall combat effectiveness by 400% through a three-tier architecture of J-20 plus J-10C plus Attack 11, with costs increasing by only 60%. Modern air combat has evolved into a reconnaissance jamming attack evaluation four-dimensional closed-loop system. Space-based remote sensing satellites provide initial target indications. Quantum communication ensures command transmission. Airborne microwave weapons implement electromagnetic suppression, and hypersonic missiles deliver the final lethal strike. During a recent exercise in the South China Sea, the Chinese Air Force achieved target detection via satellite-to-missile impact in just 6 minutes and 17 seconds. The shadows behind victory are equally worth watching out for. During the exercise, the red team's data link was suppressed by the blue team's quantum jamming device for 120 seconds, and the radar side lobes of the J-500 were detected by the J-20's passive detection system. The U.S. military discovered in simulated combat that when the F-35's NGJ electronic warfare pod implements full bandwidth jamming, it can reduce the combat effectiveness of similar systems by 73%. Opponents' counter-system tactics are emerging. Directed energy weapons threaten satellite constellations, cyber attacks target cloud systems, and hypersonic missiles conduct ultra-low altitude penetration. Russia's Kinzhal missile successfully penetrated NATO's Aegis Star Shield joint system during Atlantic exercises, proving that any defense network has vulnerabilities. When the J-10C fleet at Pakistan's Peshawar Air Base conducted the Ligian 2025 exercise, India's Su-30 fleet in Rajasthan was grounded at a rate of 42% due to a lack of spare parts. This contrast reflects a deeper transformation. The modern struggle for air superiority has escalated into a confrontation between national industrial systems and technological ecosystems. Over Pangong Lake, electromagnetic spectrum records of the standoff between Chinese and Indian fighter jets showed that the Chinese side updated the battlefield situation map every 8 seconds, while the Indian side's refresh cycle lasted 45 seconds. This generational lag stems from China's comprehensive lead in 12 key technological fields, including quantum communication, artificial intelligence, and terahertz radar. The summary by Wang Yujian, commander of the Southern Theater Command Air Force Brigade, cuts to the core. The J-10C shooting down the J-20 is not a miracle, but the inevitable victory of systemic engineering over individual heroism. While discussions in New Delhi's conference rooms were still focused on the source code terms of the Su-57, China had already opened the secondary interface of its Skynet combat system to Pakistan, meaning that in the next conflict in Kashmir, Indian aircraft could face cross-dimensional attacks from satellites, drones, and ground radars. On the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier in Tokyo Bay, Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery wrote in a classified memo, "The most dangerous aspect is not the J-20's stealth capabilities, but China's systemic innovation ability to transform fourth-generation aircraft into fifth-generation killers." In the command center on Yongshu Reef in the South China Sea, a large screen displays the flight paths of every aircraft within a 2,000-kilometer radius in real time. There are no isolated fighter jets, only flowing data and intertwined fire networks, quietly weaving a new order in the Asian sky using bits and electromagnetic waves as their coordinates. At an airport along the China-Pakistan border, under the wing of the Pakistani Air Force's J-10C fighter jet, the PL-15 missile that once neutralized the J-20 during exercises glints with a cold metallic sheen under the blazing sun. This icy glow reflects not only the missile's sharpness, but also the end of an old era's air combat logic.